Caitlyn Jenner, of course, has been making headlines, and she has her supporters, but she also has her opponents, those who don't agree that she's brave for coming out and revealing that she's transgender. Well, one of those people who don't agree with her is Coffey of Salem, Oregon. Apparently, he is upset that people believe that Caitlyn Jenner has any type of courage or that she's brave, because the real brave people in this country are those who are fighting for our freedom. Typical guy who only wants to support our troops. So he posted this picture on his Facebook page, and he says that, you know, these are the people that we should be talking about. These are the genuinely brave individuals of America that deserve all of our love and attention.
I would have known the answer. It's funny. I read the story without seeing the photo. Yeah. It would have taken me less than 1 second to see what you're about to reveal what you're about to say.
So he did a quick Google search. He's like, brave soldiers, and then this comes up, and he posts it on his Facebook page. And then it turns out that the men in the photo are actually toy figurines staged by Mark Hogan Camp, who was actually beaten nearly to death in 2000 for dressing as a woman. How amazing is this story?
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Ben, I guess that you would have figured out there was toy figurines, not that the person who made it was dressing as a woman.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay,
like you said, a guy dressed like a woman designed that, clearly. No, look, there's no photo that another person caught of one guy picking another guy up and him shooting over the shoulder. Like, that's not a thing that happens. It might be, first of all, it's not a thing that happens. And it's also not a thing that then gets photographed.
Right. Yeah.
So, Ben, your dad was in World War II. Didn't he have a story about, like, shooting like this as he was running away?
Yeah, that's what happens, is that the Nazis were coming, and my dad was running through the snow and shooting over his shoulder, like that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, like, I don't know where they are.
You know why? Because you're running for your life.
And then it was picked up a Nazi gun, and then it ran out, and then he threw it in the snow and kept running. Like, and that's not really a picture.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
The guy throwing the gun.
Or a guy awkwardly shooting over his shoulder.
My dad is basically a pacifist, you know, like firing some rifle at no one, and then looking at it when it clicked, like Schwarzenegger, like, this is no good. Yeah.
Can you imagine how, like, I mean, the one thing that is right is those guys were heroes, right? I mean, you hear, guys, we got to go. The Nazis are coming.
Yeah,
right.
Jesus.
Right. That takes courage. But now, that is, even if this guy was right, and these were actually human beings and not toy figurines, right? It doesn't mean that other people are not also courageous in other ways. Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, right. So there's a million. What if a guy runs into traffic to save a child?
Not
but how about did he fight in Iraq?
No.
He didn't? Okay, then all right, he's not courageous.
There would be overwhelming consensus that that person is courageous. The reason why Caitlyn Jenner doesn't have as many supporters is because of the fact that she's transgender. I mean, we all know that, right? So this guy didn't come out and say transphobic stuff, but it's implied in his post. Right. But what I do give him credit for is after, first of all, he didn't know who was the artist behind this. He was looking for the photographer so he can give them credit. This post was shared over 800,000 times, and apparently he later figured out what the truth was, obviously, and he posted about that on Facebook, and he seemed a little apologetic. And so he definitely tucked tail and seemed to apologize for what he had posted. So I give him a little bit of credit for that, especially because people tend to be defiant even when they're proven wrong. And he wasn't that way, so a little love for him.
This
for
was
that
kind
reason.
of a good week for crazy, hateful people apologizing because of those two guys in Phoenix. Did you do that story on Monday?
Oh, that's right.
Two guys from the protest in Phoenix. One guy who went into the mosque who came with a F Islam T-shirt, and then he went into the mosque and he was like, "Oh, this is very peaceful. These people are so nice to me, very peaceful." And afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, I kind of had this wrong."
What
Really?
did he think? That
and
people
then another
were
guy
just bombs at him or something?
No,
I don't know.
No, he probably did.
He probably
thought
did.
they were like climbing ropes, practicing with machetes. No, like we find that insane and ludicrous. But that's the crazy stuff that they've been fed and they really believe. So they go in and they see people praying. They're like, oh, it's just like what we do at church. And they're genuinely shocked by that.
Another guy just got into a dialogue with a bunch of people who were supporting the mosque, and he was convinced enough. He was like, "Oh, I'm never wearing this T-shirt again. This is super rude. I'll never wear it again."
Yeah, and he said, "I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. I'm never
Wow.
And this guy, bless his heart, was also open-minded, right? And says, hey, you know what? I should have looked into it. And and stuff. And he's not as crazy, hateful as the other guys in Phoenix. You know,
he's not at all.
Right. No. And so he did this thing he shouldn't have done. He looks, and I think part of it is that he's like, oh my God, the person who did this was nearly beaten to death.
Nearly beaten to death. Yeah.
And so it turns out being trans in America does require a lot of courage.
So just a little more information about the artist behind that picture. He was nearly beaten to death, and as a result, he suffered from serious brain damage. He couldn't remember anything about his life prior to that incident occurring. And also another thing, he himself was a vet. So the reason why he put that image together was so he can like remember what he went through.
There's
in his
a documentary about this guy.
Yes,
I
there's a documentary about it.
Oh,
yeah.
I saw it.
Nice. Yeah, that documentary was from 2010.
Yeah, I saw this. Right, it's been forever, but I saw that documentary, and so he does a bunch of these. He restages stuff and takes these pictures, and so ESPN, the beginning of this week, announced that that Caitlyn Jenner was the recipient of the ESPY's Arthur Ashe Courage Award.
Yeah.
Right. Which is great. It makes sense. Decathlete, right? You know, there's the sports connection. And then soon after, people on Twitter began sharing the photo of Noah Galloway, the double amputee from Iraq, who lost his arm and his leg, and I think was on Dancing with the Stars. And the caption read, Caitlyn Jenner won the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. The runner-up was this guy, Army veteran Noah Galloway, who lost an arm and a leg to a roadside bomb in Iraq, now competes in CrossFit events. And then other people came. A guy on the left won the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. The guy on the left, meaning the former Bruce Jenner. The guy on the right,
who's a Republican, by the way.
Who's a Republican, not for long. That's my belief. Wait, they'll get to him. They get to her. The guy on the right was runner-up. And then people are like, disgraceful that ESPN would give the award to Caitlyn Jenner instead of no. There was no runner-up. All made up. ESPN did not.
I knew it. I should have.
ESPN was like, whoa, there's no vote. There's no second place.
Yeah, that's so obviously made up.
Right.
Like the toy figurine thing, I wouldn't have necessarily figured out. That I figured out. Like there's no runner-up. I've never heard of a runner-up in the Arthur Ashe Award. Like, hey, you were second most courageous.
Yeah.
Such a thing that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you have more courage in two limbs than Bruce Jenner has in his capitalized entire body. Like that's one of the tweets. It's not. You guys are great. You guys are terrific because that's what ESPN was saying, that Noah Galloway's not brave.